Welcome back to the channel where we are now previewing what is a box office match in the Champions Cup. The champions of the Champions Cup, Toulouse, Stade Toulousain, against the winners of the Challenge Cup and a team stacked full of box, the Sharks of Durban. The game is taking place in the searing heat of Durban and the, oppressive humidity. Actually, I'm saying that but I don't know. I haven't experienced it, but someone who has is Joe Worsley. Joe, what's it like playing in near 100% humidity?
So I played in Durban. It was quite hot, quite humid. But my worst experience in humidity was playing a preseason game, Wasps v Bristol in New Orleans. Someone came up with the idea of going to New Orleans for a preseason friendly in August. And yeah, it was tough work. Steve Lander, the referee, passed out after 60 minutes. Now, the ball, its shirt's dripping wet the whole time. The ball's really moist. It always feels like it's been plunged in water. In a mall, you're just getting sweaty shirts down your face like this the whole time. It's pretty different when it's that humid. Now, I hope for Toulouse's sake that it's not too humid, because obviously offloading, the way they play the game, would help not to have too much moisture on the ball. But in terms of an effect on the game, something the Sharks are used to, but something Toulouse aren't.
Humidity or altitude, what would you pick?
I still think altitude's worse, because if you're not used to it, it's just a shock. You go out your normal level, and then after 20 minutes, you're just sucking in air. I remember the Lions, we arrived 3 days before the first game at altitude just to get the legs running. It was quite an easy match, but walking at half time was nearly hallucinating because I was so tired. But the body gets used to it after 5, 6, 7 days, and then you're fine. But again, Toulouse can't just travel down there and do that. So they're lucky they're playing coast sea level rather on the coast.
Well, the way that the pool is poised, they are in a dogfight with Bordeaux for that top spot. It could even come down to points difference. So how much do you think that would be in their minds? Obviously, they've got to go and try and win, but in the back of their minds, they know they've got to try and win well away in the home of the Sharks. Would they even be talking or thinking like that?
I don't think they will. I think they'll be thinking, we're going to qualify. I think the reason they've probably gone big is because of the Six Nations coming, the players are going to go away. This would be a statement for them, I think. It's a statement saying, we're going to go to South Africa, we're going to take a good team, and we're going to play against one of their best team, probably best team, and then we're going to hopefully do a good job on them. I think in terms of statements about Toulouse and about rugby, I think it's going to give them a lot of confidence if they do actually fulfill that idea.
There's a lot made about, in fact, it's something South Africans always mention in the conversation about Dupont's greatness. They always say, yeah, but he doesn't play in the Southern Hemisphere because France don't use their July test window for their first team. So it's just added a little extra spice to it, the fact that they've gone full bore.
Yeah, I think we're all quite concentrated on our own countries when it comes to rugby. And I think the South Africans are going to understand the French way of doing things a lot better after seeing Toulouse play in this game.
So I'll tell you what, let's go through the teams, which haven't been announced yet. They get announced on Friday lunchtime, but based on who we expect to play, if all the players that are available get picked as we think they will, 1 to 15, who would you select in a combined team? And we can have a bit of a conversation about where that leads, the strengths and weaknesses of each team and the route to victory. So starting with jersey number 1, Cyril Bay made his return for Toulouse at the weekend, but that was his first game back in a long time. So I'm going to assume that Dorian Oldigeri will start. Ox and Che. Joe, who would you go for?
I got to say Che, because Oldigeri's one of the Toulouse players who's there because he's a good scrummager and a good set piece forward. He's probably not quite as good as Che, but honestly, between the two of them, there's not a huge amount in it. But yeah, off the bat, I'm going to say Che because the guy's a beast in the scrum. And when
he's even more of a beast. He's even more of a beast scrummaging when he's got Bongi and Benambi alongside him.
Yeah.
So hooker, you've got the set piece oriented Mbanambi against the all action Malvaka. That is one of the tastiest matchups on the field.
Yeah, exactly, Malvaka. But I mean, Marchand could be picked because he's a better scrummager and probably a better thrower. Around the pitch, they both offer a huge amount. They got 2 incredible hookers in their squad. So I think set piece wise, scrum wise, he's a little bit better. But again, there's not a huge amount in it. Combined, if you're talking about set piece, the 2 South Africans are the ones you pick. But honestly, I've got to pick Malvaka because I find him incredible to watch. I find he can do the basics to a reasonable level, international level. And then on top of that, he's just got ball stealing, offloading, line breaks. He's got all that other side of his game, which other hookers just don't even get close.
And the fact that Toulouse moved him to the flank in was it the Exeter game or one of the Champions Cup games previously for the last 20 minutes when they brought Marchand on just speaks to the range of skills the guy's got. I'm with you. I'd go for Malvaca every time. Back to the complete the front row then. Vincent Koch against Rodrigo Netti, I'm assuming will be tight head for Toulouse. If that's the case, who would you go with?
I think Vincent Koch's probably getting on a bit now. He's still a good player, still playing international rugby. Netti's one of the is a good player as well. Of all of our choices, this is probably the least sexy one we're going to make between two massive men. I'm going to go for Vincent Koch because he looks like Mr. Incredible.
I love the way. Yeah, that's a good reason to go for him. He has been really good this year, to be fair, and I like the fact that you called him Vincent Koch.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So 2 Sharks props either side of a Toulouse hooker. In terms of matchups on the pitch, the one I'm most looking forward to is the 2 enforcers. Eben Etzebeth, who will go on to be, if he stays fit, the most capped rugby player in the history of the sport, against Emmanuel Meafu, who may well go down as the biggest brute the sport has ever seen.
Able to offload, he's able to pass before contact, he's able to do a side of the game which brutes can't normally do. We think about the second rows. I mean, Etzebeth has got talent, amazing talent. He's a brute, he's got some talent, but nothing like Meafu when it comes to offloading, running at the line, drawing players and passing. So do we have to pick one or the other, or can we pick both? And then
I guess I'm not sure who the second Sharks second row will be. It could be Jason Jenkins, could be Van Heerden, but really I think they would come second best to Flamont. So I guess if we made it a conversation between which 2 of 3 would you pick, Etzebeth, Meafu and Flamont, because I guess you could pick Etzebeth and Meafu together, or would Flamont is what he does around the park and at set piece, is that too important and too good to mean that one of the others has to miss out?
Yep, so this question's an interesting one because if you are going to pick Etzebeth and Meafu, you're going to have less of a creative mobile player flying around the pitch, supporting, offloading, less of an aerial team who can contest, although Etzebeth is pretty good in the line out as well. He probably wouldn't be quite as good as an out-and-out aerial second row. So it depends who's in your back row. Like Rumat, if Rumat's playing, then you could probably pick a second row like that who are physical with the added ability to handle stuff. But Rumat and the team would allow you to do something like that. But he's injured. He's pulled a muscle, I think. So he's out of the running for that one. So I don't know. I'd still Etzebeth, Meafu. If those guys are available, I'd still pick them. Stick Flamand in the back row instead.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's hard to deny either of those 2 guys. They are just exceptional. Flamand, not too shabby either. But as you mentioned, moving into the back row, and let's take this as a back row overall. Rumat is out, as we understand it. Sia Khaleesi has been playing number 8 for the Sharks with usually James Fenter and then Pepsi Butalese's been in there, Vincent Chichuka, but you've got Francois Crowe and Jack Willis. So I guess the obvious thing just for me is you go with the 3 biggest names, Crowe, Willis, Khaleesi. But as you've already talked about with the balance in the back row, would that work?
Yeah, we've got to put in here as well. Crowe's coming towards the end of his career, his Toulouse career, I think. He's still a fantastic player, but really he's contesting with Willis for a position, I would say now. You can justify picking both of them in some situations, but then you've got Gillon, Flamand, and several young players at Toulouse who are carrying the ball so well. So I think Crowe, let's put him out of it for now. I think Jack Willis, we've got to pick. Anthony Gillon, Flamand, Khaleesi. I think those 4, because the 2 other back rowers, I feel uncomfortable talking about them because I've seen him play very little. And the reason I've seen him playing very little is they haven't played too much international rugby. Maybe he can like me a bit more to their capabilities, but are they good enough at the moment to get ahead of Willis, Flamand, or Gillon?
No, no one's getting past Jacques Willis. At the moment, no, not a chance. Sia Khaleesi's playing very, very well, and I'm really excited to see them go head to head. It's interesting what you say about Francois Crowe. I thought he was really good for France through November, but Jalon's coming back as well. As you say, he's class.
His body's a bit. He's had a few injuries in knocks. He's still an incredible player. I think he's still at Toulouse end of the season. Maybe one more.
Just on that, so that if they are the flankers, Joe, and obviously South Africa have their 6 and 7 the other way round, but Willis and Crowe 6-7 or 7-6, whichever it is, do they play? One play a traditional blindside role and one play an open side role? No, do they both do a bit of all of it?
In France, normally the 7's normally more of an aerial back row, but obviously in that case it wouldn't be like that. They tend to play left and right. You don't swap. But if you had Crowe and Willis playing, that's where you have a second row of Flamand with Mierfield at the best. Okay, and then if you got a massively physical second row, that's where you probably wouldn't go for Crowe and Willis. You'd pick Jalon, who's good in the line out and good in the loose, or Flamand in the back row again, similar to Lejean, less physical than Jalon, but in some ways more skillful aerially in the line out.
So hold on, I'm confused now. What three are we picking? So you're saying
we've gone for Etzebest. We've gone for Etzebest and Mierfield, so we can't pick Crowe and Willis if we're doing a good selection here.
So you're putting Flamand on the flank.
Yeah.
Flamand on the flank with Willis and Khaleesi, or Willis and.
I don't think you can pick Willis and Khaleesi either, because it's not really. When Willis is in, we love Willis. He steals so much ball. He creates these opportunities, amazing opportunities the whole time. He's on fire at the moment. So now for me, it's between. There's two places between Khaleesi, Flamand, Jalon, and I think we've got to pick Khaleesi because of his leadership qualities and his ability to work his arse off. But which means you're probably going to have to pick Flamand for the lineup.
All right. Flamand 6, Willis 7, Khaleesi 8. I like that. So that's 4 for the Sharks and 4 for Stade Toulousain. That suggests that in terms of the pack, it's going to be fairly well matched. What we think of the back lines, though, that could be different. And hopefully you'll join us for that video, which is coming in the feed very soon. Make sure you hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Most importantly, leave your comment down below.